So I basically went through and just compared all of these guys and how they stacked up. And based on some feedback as well, I actually think that Chase Dollander could take the top spot if it wasn't for Coors. And we'll get into him, I think, briefly. But here's where I landed with Bubba Chandler. Chandler has only gotten better throughout his career. Go back to high school, his draft year. I mean, we were talking about a 3-star quarterback, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 4, but he was committed to go to Clemson, who at the time was coming off some national championships. He's going to play quarterback, and he's going to be a two-way baseball player. So not really focusing on pitching all that much. Steps into pro ball. The Pirates obviously draft him. He gets the overslot deal. He steps in, and his first year, he tries to do the two-way thing. He's playing shortstop. He's pitching. Honestly, it just didn't go over well. Fast forward, I think that's then 2023 is his next year, where I did see him several times. And honestly, he got better throughout the year. You saw the progression with Chandler just as a pitcher. On the mound, I mean, this is a freak athlete, no shock. Given that he was such a good football player, given the ability to play shortstop, Chandler is just an elite athlete and mover on the mound. He struggled with command at times. Actually, I've seen him probably at his worst. I've shared the story before. I'm sitting with a scout from a pretty prominent team at a Chandler start, and it's the second or third time I've seen Chandler in 2023, and the scout had never actually seen him, so I was like, I'm just hyping him up. In the first inning, I shared the game log in the Dynasty Dugout Discord, but literally, it's it starts out okay. I think he struck out the first batter. He allowed a hit, and then it went walk, wild pitch, walk. It was ugly. It was 30-some% strike rate. And after that half inning, the scout just kind of looked at me. And I was just
are you crazy, dude?
Yeah. And so it was a pretty dumbing moment, but I always think back to that, and it's the process was always right. I knew Chandler had elite stuff. The TrackMan data was elite on it. I'd seen him pitch several times. And I think he threw 3 innings, and it was better after that. But still, it was one of those moments where it's okay, there's still a lot of growing pains here. And we saw him take that next step. We saw it in the spring. We saw it with Chandler this year. The strike rate just jumped significantly. And I think that he's so unique, in what does so stacking up the fastballs, I think Chandler's got the best fastball of this group outside of Dollander. Dollander's fastball is probably better, but again, we'll talk him in a minute. But you look at Bubba Chandler's fastball, it sits around 97. It touches near triple digits. He throws it for strikes, much better than he did previously. The strike rate on Chandler's fastball, really, really good. Misses bats at a high clip. He's throwing from a 5'7" release height, and he's incredibly flat approach angle. So it's a negative 4.2 vertical approach angle, and he gets 6'8" of extension on it. Absurd whiff rate. The whiff rate on his fastball last year, very high. The changeup's pretty devastating. You look at that pitch for Chandler. The pitch metrics on it are very strong as well. The slider, he kind of changed the slider shape a little bit. When I first saw him at the beginning of 2023 with Greensboro, he was throwing more of a sweeper. And now it's more of a gyro slider, but I actually think that pitch can play a little bit better. I mean, it sits 86, 87, changeup sits 88. So he's got those higher velo ranges, and he dumps in an 81-mile-an-hour curveball on you. It's just a pretty deep arsenal. Chandler checks the boxes from the athleticism standpoint. Now he's checking the boxes of command and strike throwing. And when I compared him to these other guys, he doesn't have the track record of injuries like Job does. Job has back issues. He had other issues that are a little bit worrisome. I love Job. Painter, going back and reviewing his data, Painter's got good velocity, but his fastball shape's pretty bland, and he gets no extension on it. We're talking about somebody that's pretty big, right? Andrew Painter's a big frame, but he gets no extension on it. I was a little bit surprised when I went back and looked at it and saw only 6'2" of extension for his size frame. He doesn't really have the stride length. It's just the extension's not there. And honestly, I thought about it, and I went back and was watching the video from the AFL that we had, and the fastball did get hit hard. He allowed a lot of fly balls, and I know the fly balls carry in the AFL, but then it was going back and looking at, okay, what did this look like before, like he got hurt? And it was more the same, where I kind of wonder if the fastball doesn't play as good as I thought it was going to play. Yeah, it's got the velo. It's still a good pitch, but that's kind of why I landed on Chandler at the top. Again, all three of these guys are in a tier, so I hope you hear me out on that and don't think I'm crazy for just putting Chandler at 1. I really do think that, like, I wound up doing this exercise of having them all back to back to back in the same tier as overall ranking. So Chandler, Joe, Painter, just from the standpoint of, like, I also think that Chandler's going to pitch significant innings in the majors this year. I dare say he pitches more than Andrew Painter does in the majors this year. Like, they've told us July. Like, for Painter, it may be later. That was like the earliest. So I'm kind of thinking Chandler gets more innings than Painter, and I have a lot less worries about his health track record than I do Jackson Jobe. And I love Jobe too. I think both guys are all three of these are very solid arms. Can't go wrong with any of them. But I do believe that Bubba Chandler has a chance to be special. Like, I don't know. That's kind of where I've landed after this last few days and kind of reevaluating and looking for this episode in particular.